This clone stamping tool works like this. I'm going to just zoom in. You need to sample from the area that you like to clone from by holding on to Option key, and then as soon as I hold the Option key, my cursor changes to this circle with plus inside. And if I click and let go of the Option key, I basically sampled from this area. And then I come over to the area that I would like to clean up, and then you simply just paint over it. Let's take a look at the option bar. I'm not going to go over entire tools in the option bar, but what's important is this. Sample only current layer or current layer and below, or all layers. You can go for current layer if you have a layer that has the pixel information like this one. You can also make an empty layer and retouch on this empty layer too. And then I'll show you the advantage of doing this. I'm going to make the retouch layer that is empty. When you have the retouch layer that is empty and you are choosing current layer, you can't sample from the transparency. So nothing happens. You like to go for current and below, or if you have something on top of this layer, then you like to go for all layers. Right now, I don't have anything on top of this retouch layer, so I'm going to go for current and below layer. And I would hold Option key and click to sample and come over to this area. Now I can retouch them based on where I sampled from.
Careful with that, right? Because you can create patterns.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Also, another thing that you like to look into is something called aligned. This I tend to check it. This means that, let me just Option and sample, and I come over here, right? And I'm holding down the cursor, the mouse, and do you see the plus mark right below my cursor, the circle area? That's where my sample is coming from. So I can tell where the sample is coming from, and the sample comes aligned with a cursor. If this is unchecked, and if I sample from this area, say this area, if I come over to this area, the sample is not aligned. It's coming from a little above the shoulder area. So aligned is usually helpful, unless you completely would like to take the information from one place and keep going at it. If the sampled area, I sample from, say, this area, okay? I sample, and if this align is checked, this plus mark, do you see? Comes with, as I move the cursor, it's aligned. So this is important. Opacity, you can change them. I would keep the mode for now normal. And if you look closer, that's the brush size. Brush size and the hardness. I tend to go for the hardness rather harder than softer, like more than 50% definitely. I would tend to go 70-80% because that fuzziness tends to create the loss of the texture. Also, this brush, I tend to have this a little angled and sometimes make it slightly, depending on what you're fixing, but a little angled and then skinnier and something like this on the shoulder here will target better in this way. Yeah.
Hardness, what exactly is hardness? Is it just the way, is it referencing to how hard the brush is put down on the piece of paper, or is it the brightness or darkness of it?
Hardness is the basically the fuzziness of the
so how smooth it is around the brush.
Right.
So it's more of a straight.
That's a very good question. So let me see. If the hardness is 100%, then this is what happens. The edge of the brush is really, really, really hard. I'm going to go to hardness 0. That's the difference. Yeah. Okay. So I tend to not to have 100%, but something like 70, 80%. That would retain a good amount of textures, but then it won't be so hard around it. Well, I don't really see that much differences at this point, but I should. And the good thing about having this retouch layer, dependent from the background layer, is that here it is. The retouch layer, if you like to get rid of one place, if you want to get rid of the one place of the retouched information, you can always do that by selecting this area, because I don't want this appearing in his face. I select this area, which is this, on the retouch layer, right? And then I can hit delete and then get rid of it. And other place that I already retouched are not affected by it. That's why the retouch layer with a transparency is often helpful.
Would you re-explain why you want the brush angle?
Especially something like this. This has a long area that needs to be fixed. You can target certain areas, right? Instead of, if it is completely circle, you basically include a lot of areas that are not part of the area that I would like to fix. If I change this, then I really target a certain area, and then the surrounding area won't be touched. You don't really want to distort that. There are predefined brushes that you can go, but for a retouching, usually you can use the regular brush and change the size and the hardness. So that's the most elemental kind of sampling retouching tool. Just remember that sometimes this tool comes in really handy, because what you tell this tool will do it for you. Not necessarily thinking and trying to adjust the tonalities for you automatically. It's not automatic. This tool is not automatic. But if you tell things in the right way, this tool is very, very useful.